Welcome to subramani.com. I'm going to talk to you about index funds and the role that index funds have played. So let's go back to 1999. There was this fund manager, let us call him Amit, and he was getting you an alpha of 3.5. Obviously, he was poo-pooing and saying कि index funds कुछ नहीं कर पाएगा. And he was getting you decent alpha, or that's what you thought, and 2%, 3% kind of alpha was being created, and you thought you were getting that worthwhile. But remember, you were not getting any alpha simply because you were paying a 2% entry load, right? So effectively, no investor has got an alpha investing in large cap stocks in India over the last 25-30 years. Though all of them claim that they have created alpha, remember, alpha was being created, there is no doubt, but it was not reaching you because of the entry load of 2%. So if they've created an alpha of 2%, you've already lost it before you invested because of the load structure. Today there is no load structure, there is no entry load, and there is no exit load if you stay on for 1 year. So load is not the issue, the only issue is cost. So now, are they creating alpha is a question which you have to ask. One more thing which has happened is, earlier the comparison was always with the Sensex. Today there is something called a TRI, which is a total return index, which includes the dividends. Please understand the difference between TRI and the Sensex. The Sensex does not include the dividend. Obviously, bonus and splits are adjusted for, but the dividend is not. So the fund manager gets the dividend, and the fund itself pays charges. So if the dividend yield is 2% and the fund management charges are 2%, normally they should offset each other. So it's basically Sensex minus expenses, which is what you should be looking for alpha. Unfortunately or fortunately, now there is a TRI also to compare, which makes it very difficult for most fund managers to be able to create alpha, right? Therefore, you may like indexing. You also have to remember that earlier, typically the fund where go wherever you want fund, which means he could call himself a large cap fund, but there was no compulsion for him to be true to label. He was really go anywhere. So today, if he liked SpiceJet, he could buy a SpiceJet. Tomorrow, if he liked Indigo, he could buy Indigo. He could dump SpiceJet. You can still do it. But suppose Indigo was a large cap and SpiceJet was a mid cap. Both of it can't be in the same portfolio. Yes, your SpiceJet had to be in a small cap, mid cap fund, and Indigo had to be in a large cap fund. That difference is there. Earlier, he could have managed and said, it's okay, I can have some mid cap and all that. Then the question is, you ask him, did he fill it up with too much of IT, and was the alpha created because of the IT that he overloaded himself with? Today somebody will tell you that also, that why he created the alpha. If he creates alpha, which means creating alpha over long periods of time, say 20-25 years, is today a pipe dream. Very, very unlikely that any fund manager can create alpha for such a long period of time. Short periods of time, yes, alpha will still get created because the whole market is moving in a concentrated fashion. So 5 stocks pull the market up, and if you are fund manager was lucky enough to be invested in those 5 stocks, or at least 4 of them, and reasonable, maybe slightly overweight also, obviously is pulled ahead of the of the pack, and he's done well. But that could be sheer luck or coincidence or whatever. So you want to see whether he'll be able to do it consistently, especially if it's a broad-based rally. In the broad-based rally, trying to create alpha today seems to be very difficult because the fund manager has to stick to rules by the regulator. He needs to be clear whether he's large cap, mid cap, whether he's value, whether he's momentum. Those days of, I mean, my own portfolio is a go anywhere portfolio. So I could be buying a State Bank of India, I could be selling an HDFC Bank, or I could be selling a HUL and using that money to fund the purchase of an Indigo. Any of these things I can do because it's my personal portfolio and I'm not answerable to anybody, and it's a direct equity portfolio. Fund managers don't have that luxury, so they will have to be careful about what they are buying, because large cap can be bought only in large cap, mid cap shares can be bought only in mid cap, and a fund manager may not be handling both. So even if he likes a very good mid-cap stock, if it is not in his brief, he cannot just buy that, right? Today it is easy with enough data analytical tools for me to isolate the skill and luck. So if he has had a lot of luck, that will get revealed, and I mean, nothing wrong in luck, but that it will be revealed in the analysis. So researchers can dissect the portfolio. Did he buy a lot of small companies? Did he buy a lot of mid cap? What is his style? Did he pick up value? Did he pick up momentum? And say, oh, you're a value guy, why did you pick up momentum stock? He can of course say all the value that I see in this fund or in this company is going to come from growth. But yes, if he is true to label, and unfortunately or fortunately our regulator, the Indian regulator, has created a lot of buckets in which you can be, or I wouldn't call them buckets, I would call them silos, where you're not allowed to peep into the other silo. Life has definitely become difficult. There are 16 types of debt funds, right? So you cannot have a go anywhere fund. So how could things go wrong, right? So when you do all this, you will find that your alpha gap has come down to 1% or 0.9% or 0.8%, because you are comparing it to the TRI, and then you do not know whether this 0.8% will be sustained over the next few years, because there is absolutely no proof that alpha is sustained. And even if alpha is sustained by one player over a 20-30 year period, the chances are you haven't heard about that fund is very small, you would never have put too much money into it. For example, if a new fund house is born tomorrow and it creates some kind of an alpha, you may go and put a smallish amount. You may put 2% of your portfolio, 3% of your portfolio, 5% of your portfolio. Impact of that on your total portfolio is going to be negligible. So effectively, does it really help you, except standing at a party and saying, ah, that fund house, good fund manager, right? I also have some money there. But what is the impact that it has on your life? It's very difficult. So analytical tools expose a fund manager, tell you what that fund manager is doing, tell you the importance of cost. So you may look at all this and decide to do indexing, which means you invest in an index fund. Does it make sense? Yes, it makes sense. So over a 25-30 year period, but everybody feels that next 5 years indexing won't work. This fund manager is really good and now it's the bottom of the market. Let us wait for one cycle. Nothing wrong. You can have index as a part of your portfolio rather than the only thing in your portfolio. And like I always keep saying, Bogle, apart from founding Vanguard, the most important thing he has done is created more wealth for all investors by making index funds famous. And he has created more wealth than what Buffett or a Soros or anybody can do for you over long periods of time. The amount of money that Mr. John Bogle has saved for investors is humongous. It runs into trillions, if it runs into at least a trillion, if not billions. Thank you.